So this is a first for me in my career. I've been around the fire service my entire life. It's the first lightning strike that I've been on with a human.
She said the skies were black. And so it was, I guess, the precursor to the funnel, which followed, just a couple of minutes later.
We start off tonight with the severe weather that blew through the area earlier today. One person is recovering in the hospital after being struck by lightning, while others spotted a funnel cloud in Clackamas County. Take a look.
Holy smokes.
Tim Chambers was working at his CB shop in Malala when he heard a severe weather alert around 4 p.m. He ran outside and captured this incredible video, one of multiple sightings of funnel clouds in the area, according to the National Weather Service.
A funnel, which wasn't really rotating all that fast, but the clouds above it were rotating pretty quickly.
Chambers says he has always enjoyed watching storms blow through, but never thought he would be face to face with a funnel cloud.
It was breathtaking. It was something, it was just wow.
Earlier in the afternoon, Tualatin Valley Fire and Rescue responded to the Oregon Golf Club in West Lynn after a golfer was struck by lightning.
He stated he recalled holding a club, but from there doesn't recall much.
Captain Ryan Stenhouse with TVFNR tells us the strike knocked the man unconscious. He eventually woke up and called the golf shop, who called 911. Stenhouse says the man had an entry wound and 2 exit wounds from the strike. He was transported to the Legacy Emmanuel Burn Center. According to Stenhouse, he was frightened but in stable condition.
Shaken, scared, nervous, as you could imagine.
Another reminder of the power of Mother Nature.
Where we could see the lightning, hear the thunder, and then shortly after that, this call came in.
Meteorologist Joe Ranieri is joining us tonight. And Joe, you have footage of another possible funnel cloud that formed today.
Yeah, there were reports of basically 3 funnel clouds in our area. This is the latest one that we just got a couple of hours ago. Now, this happened just before 5 o'clock over in Battleground. You can see a really good rotation there, a little bit better from that video that we saw in the Clackamas County area. But again, no reports of any injuries or damage. But the difference between a funnel cloud and a tornado is a tornado touches ground, which we didn't see, even though we were under a tornado warning for a short time in parts of Clackamas County earlier today. And here's a look at the other storm reports of the other funnel cloud. This one was in a little after 4 o'clock, not far from the Sweet Home area. And of course, the other one just north was right around the same time over in Malala in Clackamas County. No reports of damage or injuries from the 3 funnel clouds that were spotted, but a very active Saturday afternoon and Saturday night. As we look at the radar right now, this is what we saw earlier today. Since about 6, 7 o'clock tonight, things have definitely calmed down, and going into the rest of your weekend, we will be seeing relatively calm weather out there. In terms of rainfall amounts, we picked up just over 1/4 of an inch in the metro area, but in the area where that funnel cloud was spotted in Malala, 0.8 of an inch of rain. And some of these rainfall amounts were absolutely incredible to see in just a short amount of time. Now, we saw trace amounts from basically since midnight up to about 3 o'clock, and then 3 o'clock to about 5, 6 o'clock is really when the heavy rainfall amounts rolled through. So definitely a great sight to see in terms of rain, because we've been sitting at a deficit. So just over 1/4 of an inch of rain in parts of the metro area earlier this afternoon. For the month of June, just over an inch. So yeah, we're looking at a deficit, but we could add to that going into tomorrow. But for the most part, tomorrow is going to be more dry than wet. As we go into the early part of July, it's going to be relatively quiet. I'll talk more about that in just a few minutes.
All right, Joe, thanks so much. We'll see you later in the show. And folks at home, we could use your help boosting our weather coverage. Send us your photos and videos of the conditions in your area earlier today by texting us at the number you see there on your screen. That's 503-226-5088. In other news, the death toll continues to rise following catastrophic back-to-back earthquakes in Venezuela as the search intensifies for survivors. At least 1,400 people are dead and tens of thousands still missing across the country. Search and rescue teams from around the world are arriving to assist in response efforts, digging through the rubble and navigating constant aftershocks, which are slowing down efforts there. More than 3,000 families have lost their homes.
Arriving and just imagine your family is inside. and having absolutely no help. It's very sad. Well, we've called on the whole world that can collaborate with Venezuela, sirs. Honestly, from the heart, in the name of all of Venezuela, please, we beg you, please help. To the whole world, please help us.
Hospitals are struggling to treat the injured due to decades of neglect in Venezuela's healthcare system. More than a dozen were damaged in the quakes. And back in our area, 2 Portland restaurants became donation centers in support of the people of Venezuela. Cute Restaurant and Bar and The Zed spent the day raising funds and critical supplies to send abroad. A third business, Venezuelan restaurant La Arepa, worked with a local nonprofit and a local transportation company to organize the delivery.
Receiving help from abroad is very helpful because we are not prepared for this. We have been receiving support from all over the world, not only for donations, but for people to rescue and machines and everything that is needed to, move all the buildings.
And if you want to donate to groups supporting the relief efforts in Venezuela, make sure it's a well-established group by using the IRS's search tool. Also, make sure to pay using a credit card since those payments are more likely to be insured. Today, Iran carried out retaliatory attacks, striking targets. Sorry about that. We're having some prompter issues. Striking targets linked to, quote, the American aggressor forces. It's in response to the U.S. strikes on Friday in response to an Iranian drone attack on a commercial ship in the Strait of Hormuz. No specific target was identified, but Bahrain, which hosts the U.S. Navy's 5th Fleet, later condemned what it said was an Iranian drone attack on its territory. Iran's Revolutionary Guard now saying that if it is struck again by the U.S., it will broaden its strikes in the region. While Vice President Vance, who was at those peace talks in Switzerland, now saying violence will be met with violence. And we have a tragic update following a house fire Thursday in Hillsborough. The 2 people rescued have died of their injuries. It happened just before 1:45 Thursday afternoon on Southeast Oak Street. Crews say the fire was especially dangerous. Firefighters had to rescue the victims from the 2nd story, working in heavy smoke and flames. The cause of the fire is under investigation. A new government report provides new details on a deadly small plane crash near Hillsborough earlier this month. The NTSB cited 2 pilot witnesses who say they saw the plane's nose lifting off while on the runway and some abnormal engine noises before the plane crashed down to the ground. This was on June 12th out of the Twin Oaks Air Park. The single victim was the pilot, 49-year-old Keith Irwin. Investigators say he was piloting an experimental plane. The wreckage is still being examined. After a Portland birth center abruptly closed this month, moms and dads were invited back with their kids to say goodbye. RJ Coulter spoke to parents today, shocked and saddened with the fact that Andaluz Water Birth Center is no more.
They were both born in this tub.
Andaluz Water Birth Center in Southwest Portland, an important piece of Wong family history, but that chapter is now over.
I was hoping to have more kids here. I was hoping to have all the following kids here, so.
The center is closed after employees said they hadn't been paid in nearly a month.
You just come in here and you see them, and they're working with moms who are just completely frazzled, and they have such peace of mind, and for them to not even get the courtesy of like a call or anything, that just was very frustrating.
Andaluz director Carrie Duncan told KGW last week that the center has been around since 1999, but was sold to Birth Partners Incorporated in 2021. And Andaluz, not the only birth center owned by BPI to close recently. Multiple centers across the country have also shuttered.
We don't do this for the money, but we can't do it without money, and that's exactly where we're at. So we are like everyone else, living paycheck to paycheck, basically, and now we haven't been paid since May 22nd.
A lot of the midwives here, it's their calling in life. And so I just really hope that they can continue with that calling and find a place where they can continue to flourish and do their thing that was such a blessing to us.
The Gondoras also attending the goodbye party for Andaluz, saying it had an incredible impact on their lives.
Pretty shocked, especially so the suddenness of it.
So my heart just goes out to all of the mothers and the expecting mothers who were planning to be here in 2 weeks and no longer are able to. So there's like a sadness to it.
Jake Holter, KGW News.
A request for comment to Birth Partners Incorporated has gone unanswered. New tonight, there was a celebration today in the St. John's neighborhood. It's as the Multnomah County Library cuts the ribbon on its newly expanded location. It ends nearly 2 years of ongoing construction. The expansion adds nearly 3,000 square feet, including an early learning and play space for children, a teen room, and updated technology. The library held focus groups, meetings, and surveys to seek what the community wanted to see with the upgrade.
So I think this goes to show that when voters passed the measure, the library capital bond in 2020 to create these joyous spaces in Multnomah County, this is exactly the things that they were aiming for.
And the celebration continues tomorrow, starting at 12:30 with a stamping workshop, music performances, and a comedy show for the kids.